me. All right, so guys, you have your books open to page 814. What we're going to do today is we are going to recreate Roosevelt's New Deal. Now, Roosevelt's New Deal was ways to get America back to work. It was ways to get America back on track from the Great Depression. And you can see, as you follow along in the chart, obviously I have all these acronyms in here. So I have the Banking Relief Act, the Farm Credit Act, the Civilian Conservation Corps, Agricultural Adjustment Act, Tennessee Valley Authority, the FDIC, which we've talked about, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the National Industry Recovery Act, Civil Works Administration, Works Progress Administration, National Youth Administration, National Labor Relations Act, and also the Social Security Act. We're not going to talk about the Social Security Act because that still actually exists today. So what you are going to do, as you can see, I have you guys in groups. This was completely random. I actually created like a random number generator according to alphabetical order of the roster, and these are the groups that spit out. So Christopher, Corinne, George, Lila, Rocco, Brody, Lucy, Ava, Esteban, Dalton, and Luke. What you are going to do in your group is you are going to choose one of these 10. Now, how we're going to choose? We're going to just go 1 through 5. So I want you to take about, first of all, I want you to get with your group members. Obviously, you got it right here. We're right here. All right, move around. Now, right now, wait until we actually get started. So Christopher, over there. All right, so in this order, so Christopher, Corinne, you did first pick, so on and so forth. I want you to, before you guys pick, this is the plan of action. You are going to recreate one of these New Deal acts or policies. Like, for example, if it was a policy that was getting people back to work, you need to make that like a 2022 version. Does that make sense? You are going to modernize these acts. Like, how would you modernize the Agricultural Act? How would you modernize the FDIC? Because the FDIC only protects up to $100,000. How would you, the Tennessee Valley Authority, the building of dams and bridges, how would you modernize that? Basically, I want you to bring these New Deal acts from the 1930s into 2022. And I want you to get creative with it. Obviously, I don't want you to follow exactly what it says. And for the Tennessee Valley Authority, oh yeah, we're going to re-improve the bridges and the dams in the Tennessee Valley. No, like research, like what areas need the most work. And how would you implement that? I'm not asking you to create this huge plan for it, but you need to explain how it would benefit. So you're going to research and choose an act, which we're about to do in a second. You're going to explain the act, how it was beneficial in the New Deal. Basically, you're going to explain what it originally is or was, and how could this act be implemented in today's government policies, and be able to explain all of this in a short presentation. I'm aiming for the end of class. So I want you to take a look at these. Take 1 minute to look at these as a group. And as a group, I want you to pick what you are going to do. Think of one and think of a backup plan, because we are going in this order. Think about how you can bring one of these plans and modernize it. All right. What
the NYA.
All right. So NYA. That's why. Hold on. Georgia Lila. The AAA. All right. You said the CWA Rock on Brody? All right. Lucy, Ava, have you guys decided?
No.
All right, give you all a second. and see if another group picks it.
It was already picked.
Do y'all have an idea?
We'll just do that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, we do.
All right, what you got?
How much money you got?
Is the emergency banking relief act?
Which one is that?
I guess.
Oh, this one right here. Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't put an acronym for that one.
Oh, Bernie, but nobody cares.
All right. So Lucy, Ava, you have all of these available.
How do we make the WPA?
The WPA. All right, you got the WPA. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go around to each group and we're going to discuss how you can modernize this. So like basically how would you bring the Banking Relief Act into 2022? Like what would you change about it to make it more modern? So on and so forth. So again, I'm going to kind of walk around, kind of give you guys ideas. We're going to talk about it for a little bit. Okay?
Oh.
Yes. Yes, I'm videoing the process.
There's some info.
Okay, I'm running mine on. I'll see it.
So basically, so you can maybe buy masks, it's all
See, I think.
Like stuff that they would do.
Yes, you may. All right, so what the students did was they researched a New Deal Act. We went through the Banking Relief Act, the AAA, the CWA, the WPA, and the NYA. And what they've done is they've recreated and modernized each plan. And from there, we're going to call up each group and they're going to explain what the act originally was and how we can implement it and modernize it in today's world. All right, y'all up first.
When the stock market crashed,
First of all, what is your...
we had the Agricultural Adjustment Act. When the stock market crashed, the New Deal was benefited by the Agricultural Adjustment because it brought relief to the farmers by paying them curtail reduction, reducing surpluses, and raising agricultural products. They needed to reduce the amount of product that they had because when people started losing their jobs, they had less money to buy the crops that the farmers made. So, the crops were getting bad, like they were starting to like get rotten and stuff, so they didn't want to waste any products, so they wanted to stop the overflow of having so much product.
All right, so how do we modernize this plan?
So in 2022, there are less farmers working to produce food. There are also more people in America today. There'd be more people today than there was in 1929. So it would be more beneficial for farmers to grow more food than paying them to grow less. Finally, when the amount of food produced goes up, prices go down, making it easier for people to be able to buy these things.
All right, very good. Very good job, guys. All right. Any other volunteers want to go next? All right, Rocco, Brody, you up and go. All right, guys, make sure that we give them the undivided attention. Let's limit the background noise. All right, please tell me, once you guys get up there, please tell me what act you chose.
We did the Civil Works Administration, the CWA.
Back then, the CWA was a short-lived job creation program established by the New Deal during the Great Depression in the U.S. to rapidly create mostly manual labor jobs for unemployed workers. It helped put jobless Americans back to work and to use them on beneficial public projects. It created about 4 million jobs in the 1930s.
And this is how it would be like today. About 6 million Americans are unemployed. It created construction jobs, mainly buildings and bridges. For example, the I-12 road would need these types of workers to help rebuild or build on to the road. For example, if a public building that was contracted by the government fell down or was damaged, then the public labor workers would help rebuild it.
Very good. Good job, guys. All right, group of 3. Boys, you want to go?
Yes, sir.
That's good. Stats. All right, please state what act you are covering.
The Emergency Banking Relief Act.
All right, so the Emergency Banking Relief Act. Now, what was it?
The Emergency Banking Relief Act was enacted by Congress to allow for the reopening of individual banks. The act authorized the federal government to regulate and
Slow down.
the act authorized the federal government to regulate and control aspects of the banking system, and it also rescued failing banks with loans.
The act. Oh,
The act also expanded the president's
Regulation.
regulation authority over the nation's banking system.
The Emergency Banking Act was very beneficial. The public have returned about 2/3 of the $1.78 billion taken out before the bank crash. It's a successful act because it helps citizens regain trust in banks.
In the event the banking system fails, the FDIC will take control and either sell the failed bank to a more solvent bank or take over the operation of the bank itself.
Good job, guys. And you mentioned the FDIC, which is good because that was another new act deal, which coincides with the Banking Relief Act. Volunteers? All right, Christopher, Corinne, y'all come on. You got this. All right. Guys, let's limit the background noise. All right, so what act did you have?
National Youth Administration.
All right, now what was it?
It provided education, jobs, recreation, and counseling for male and female youth between the ages 16 and 50. It was created by the New Deal attempt to combat the problems of youth unemployment on more on long-term basis.
It focused on providing work and education for Americans between the ages of 16 and 25.
What it helped with, it can help with research such as health, cancer, lung, heart, kidney, and liver diseases. It can help find better ways of transportation, building maintenance such as cleaning common areas, repairing broken items such as air conditioning, lights, and gas for fumes.
These are some of the jobs. You could be a fast food attendant, a server, a barista, a grocery store bagger, and the social media assistant. This is why students needed jobs. They needed money for college. They needed to earn extra pocket money, learn to manage money, gain transferable skills, become more confident, develop interpersonal skills, gain independence, learn to manage time wisely, build a professional network, and gain work experience.
Very good. That was really good. Good job, guys. All right. Last but not least, good. That was what it was. All right, now what, ladies, what is your act?
Ours the Works Progress Administration, and it was created by President Roosevelt in 1935. It put roughly 8.5 million Americans to work. It also provided work relief. The public work projects were building roads, and it also employed thousands of actors, musicians, writers, and other artists. It also employed skilled and unskilled workers.
Some public projects were more than 650,000 miles of roads were built, 125,000 public buildings, 75,000 bridges, and 8,000 parks.
The WPARs made 2,566 murals, 100,000 easel paintings, 17,070 sculptures, 300,000 fine prints, 22,000 plates for Index of American Design, and the total investment was about $35 million.
The way we can modernize the public projects were creating schools, which creates jobs for teachers, janitors, and admin. Creating ships, which provides jobs for captains, crew, and repairmen. Cars, which creates jobs for repairmen and car salesmen. Building banks, which creates jobs for bankers and bank tellers, and libraries for librarians. Advancement in technology also helps construction today be completed at a rapid pace.
Very good, guys. All right. So before I let you guys go, in conclusion, the New Deal, Roosevelt's New Deal in the 1930s was ultimately to do what? Somebody raise their hand and tell me what they think. What you got, Lucy?
Create more jobs.
Create more jobs. Why?
Because they need them.
Because they needed them. Because they needed to make money. They needed to pay for things. And during the Great Depression and during the stock market crash, a lot of people lost their jobs. So the New Deal, all of these things were put into place in order for Americans to get back their money, to get food, to make sure that their money's protected next time if this happened, and also to get people back to work.
Yes.